Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is a little gloomy here. Pretty direct behind the clouds, sunlight happening. So I hope you guys maybe are having a sunnier day today than we are, but at least it's not raining. No, that's good. I hope you guys are having a great start to your Friday and a great start to the weekend. And for anyone watching the replay, my name is Evelyn of Pink Sheep Design. This is my regularly scheduled Pink Sheep and Friends series that happens every Friday live here on Instagram. And I also post these to YouTube. So if you enjoy these and you like meeting new people within the crochet and fiber world community, this is a great playlist that you can check out on YouTube if you want to meet some new people and grow your fiber community. Hello, hello. All right, so I have one big announcement for you guys before we get started and bring on today's guest. And that is that the newest hooks, our newest jumbo 3D printed crochet hook release is live in the Etsy shop. I have not had a chance to photograph these super well. So right now the listing just has a graphic that says these are our hot tamale hooks. And look at that sparkle. So this is our newest release. I should have individual listings up by tomorrow, but if you love this color, we have not done a bright red like this before. Like I said, we're calling these our hot tamale hooks. But you can go ahead if you've had your eye on a specific size or something, you can purchase these. It's just all one big listing that says hot tamale crochet hooks on it. So you can check those out. And then we also have a listing for our hybrids with the same color. So super, super excited to have those live. We were really excited about this color. Like I said, we've done a lot of bright colors. We've done coral. We did do a couple of red hooks in the very, very first release that we ever did back over a year ago now, I think. Almost a year ago, over a year ago. But these are our first sparkly red. So I hope you guys like them. So that is for this month. Okay, so on to the main part of this live, and that is bringing my guest on. It is Priscilla of the Stitch Queen. And it's interesting because one of my favorite things that I get to do with my brand is do pattern roundups on my blog. So I love getting to go through and find new designers and find new artists. And this is actually how I found Priscilla. And I feel like sometimes Instagram doesn't always feed us everyone that we might want to see. So the way that I discovered her was going through and finding patterns for really cool tote bags. And I found her on Ravelry. So that allowed me to come follow her here and see if she wanted to join me for one of these Pink Sheep and Friends lives. So let's bring her on. Fingers crossed. I love technology so much. Move my camera too. See if that works. Right. Let me know if it's giving you problems, Priscilla. I haven't seen you come on yet. Oh, another request. Let's try again. Make sure you're not on your computer if you're on your computer, because it won't let you. That's what happened last time. Oh, I see so many hearts and so many people joining in. Welcome, welcome. We are just trying to bring my guest on today. I tried joining them. My whole app cut out. Yeah, so just restart and try again. See if that works. Instagram can be so much fun, can't it? But we just do our best, right? All right, well, so we'll try again. If you're going to exit out, you can restart your phone if you need to. We will be here. So everyone who is here joining us, let us know what you're working on. So what are you doing on this Friday? Pink Capricorn, love the pink hair. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was pretty excited to go pink again. I think it's been a week since I dyed it, so super happy. And it hasn't faded that much. I mean, I've washed it, I think, 3 times since I got it done. And I will tell you guys, the curls, I don't have naturally curly hair. You should check out Octo Curl because you do it without heat. So that's pretty cool. Are your patterns found on YouTube? So I have a few free patterns available on YouTube. You can check those out. I think there's a playlist called Patterns and Tutorials, maybe. Yes, fingerless gloves. The fingerless gloves are on there. I think a headband, a hat, a cat ear hat, a regular hat, and a Luna cardigan crochet along. So if you want to crochet one of my cardigans with me, you can do that. There's a full playlist where I crochet one live with you. So that's kind of fun. Let's see. Flynn says, knitting my sock, trying to finish it. I have yet to make a sock. So let me try, Priscilla, let me try sending you a request. All right, so I've invited you. Ah!
Can you see me?
I cannot see you. But I can
Hold on one second, sorry. I literally have my camera turned the wrong way. Hi!
Yay! Hello!
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Please tell me that that wasn't like making you anxious trying to get on here.
No, I'm fine. Like, I knew it would work eventually. It's just the technology. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think my favorite is when you work on a really, really intricate reel. Like you're adding text and you're getting the music right, and then all of a sudden Instagram's like, we're just gonna flip this upside down. How does that sound?
Oh my gosh, that happened on my account. So I'm like I literally like could not post a reel for days. And then the worst thing with reels is that like sometimes, like at least before, the drafts wouldn't save. So I do an entire video and save it as a draft.
Yep.
So I just download it immediately, like before I even press like continue. So I have it saved. It's crazy.
So I'll tell you too, I have figured out a little workaround where if I have been going in and out of the app, putting the reel together, and then I'm ready to publish it, if I go to tag people and it pulls it up, sometimes it'll show you that they're going to flip it. So like once you're ready to go, click tag people, even if you're not going to tag them. And sometimes it'll show you it's going to flip. And if that's the case, I know that saving drafts isn't always the best, but I'll just resave it as a draft, back out of the app completely, open the app back up, go back through, click tag people, and then it'll be right side up and I can post it.
Well, that's good to know. Luckily, it hasn't happened in a while. Like I sent Instagram report and they're like, okay, we fixed it. And it was, but yeah, just that's good to know though, just in case, because you never know. Yeah. Like
I always copy. If I've sat there on Instagram and written out an entire caption,
copy and paste.
I'll copy it to my clipboard. Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll go back to edit it and it'll like delete the entire. Oh my god! So like I usually make my videos like in InShot, like the app InShot now. I have them like saved on my phone, then I upload them. But yeah, like Instagram, it just loves us. You know, it just loves us.
And it's like, we need you to do more of these every single day, but we're going to screw them up, so you have to spend double the time.
That's exactly it. It's like you can only post reels too. Other ones are not going to go as far. Just reels. Like,
So thank you so much for coming on today. I'm super excited to get to chat with you. And for anyone who is not already following Priscilla, please go check her out at The Stitch Queen. Go give her a follow, check her workout. And I would love if you would just do like a quick little intro for anyone who doesn't know you or know about what you do.
Okay, sorry, I'm horrible to talk about myself. Okay, so I crochet. I started you guys didn't know. I started crocheting when I was in like middle school. I knitted first for a little bit, figured out crochet. A lot of it was just like I got this book from the library, kind of like tried to figure it out. It was difficult, you know, got on YouTube eventually. It's just like a lot of practice. I eventually got it. I started trying to sell stuff in middle school too. So it was like a while ago. I had a little bootleg website. What was it called? Like Free Webs back in the day? Y'all know about that. It's way back.
No, I don't.
Free Webs was like it was crazy. I didn't sell anything on there because I didn't know about marketing or anything. So that was it's like the cool thing I did. I tried. I got my hats in a little shop for a long time, but you know, so yeah, I started making patterns. I kind of feel like I always made patterns because I always kind of just like did my own thing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, is my video cutting out or is your video cutting out?
I can still hear you.
Okay, just making sure. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I started making patterns kind of from the beginning because I like kind of like creating my own kind of style. And yeah, so it's been since middle school I've been crocheting. I used to just sell things, but I started selling my patterns I think at the beginning of 2021 officially. And then I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just made one and just haven't really stopped since then. I kind of stopped doing commissions as much because I don't know. I'm kind of a procrastinator, and I'll like, oh yeah, I have all these orders, and it'll stress me out and give me anxiety. So I kind of just make patterns mostly. I do commissions every now and then, but it's kind of my backstory. I mostly kind of just focus on making crochet patterns now.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
and we talked about this a little before, but you started early with like
Yeah.
not just learning, you know, because I learned in high school, so you learned earlier than me. But you started like selling things in middle school, right? I mean, tell me a little about that.
I mean, like I tried to.
Yes.
I feel like I've always kind of been like an entrepreneur in my own way. Like I've always wanted to. Like there's like a little store for my one apartment back when I was like younger. It's like a little corner store, had like little clothes in there, you know, some snacks and things like that. So we went over there and like brought some hats over to sell. And back then I didn't know about percentage and things like
Yeah.
that. So I was like, here's my little beanies, you know, mom, you know, we're all there. And so I'm like, okay, like $5, you know, I forgot if he kept $3 or I kept
Oh my
$3
God.
and one of us got the other two. I think I forgot if zero hat sold or one hat sold. I forgot. It was one or the other, but we eventually moved. So I
Oh,
got another store. Yeah, it was they're little bootleg little beanies. They weren't like super cute. They're just like solid and some striped ones. But then I started like knit looming some scarves. But I think I got on Etsy in high school, or it was either high school or right after high school. I think it was in high school. I got on Etsy and I was making like beard hats. So
uh-huh.
if I know about those, they're really popular for a while. Like little beanie with a beard attached to it. I was
Uh-huh.
selling them for like 10 or 15 bucks on Etsy. I got a bunch of orders. I was making like little ski masks. I was making fingerless gloves. So I started selling stuff in high school, like officially on Etsy. And then, you know, I just kind of kept doing that. And then I eventually was in college for like a tiny bit, not a tiny bit, a few years, because I was on and off, dual enrolled and stuff. So I kind of like stopped crocheting for a while, started doing my henna full time. So I kind of put crochet down until like, it was either 2019 or 2020, I picked it back up again. And so I'm like, oh, you know, I miss this. You know, I miss crocheting, you know, and doing things with it. So I did again. But yeah, I started like way back in the day trying to sell stuff. It was
That's
fun.
awesome. And
Yeah.
have you ever sold at craft shows? Is that something you have done or want to do?
So I think my first ever one I did, back in the day, I used to date someone in Tennessee. So they had a little thing at the church and they're trying to get into like go up there and like stay up there, and I was like, I don't want to stay up here. So they had like, oh, you know, try to sell your crochet here at the church. I did a little table, I didn't sell anything. Then I started doing henna at festivals and I bring my
Mm-hmm.
crochet from time to try to sell, and
That's
it
smart.
sold. Yeah, so but I don't like having two things in one booth. I feel like it's kind of confusing. But I did a watermelon festival one time. I made little watermelon bags. They were I was doing henna. I sold all my bags except like one of the watermelon bags. It was pretty cool. But one day it would be cool to have like an entire crochet booth, but I don't crochet as much to like fill an entire booth. So we'll see if
Yes.
that even happens. It's
Yep.
like a lot of work. It's a lot of work to crochet like a bunch of different things to fill an entire thing with. But maybe one
Yes.
day it'd be cool to do craft shows.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I mean, because that was when I did craft shows, it was all about, I had to have the inventory, a lot of inventory.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think it would actually be pretty interesting to, especially because you've made a lot of like super custom, really colorful pieces. I mean, it's like statement pieces, in my opinion,
yeah,
like this skirt that you make. And because I was looking and you have still some finished pieces on your Etsy shop that are really cool. And I almost feel like for you, a show would be a place to find people for custom orders, which
yeah.
again, would probably end up being overwhelming, but I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. So wait, do you do craft shows or like used to do craft shows?
So I did craft shows solid for 1 or 2 years, I
Oh wow,
think.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that was, I was freelancing, and it was interesting because we talked about how you're doing the crochet, but you're also doing the henna. And for me, I was doing craft shows and I was also doing photography. So I had some photography clients, mostly for social media type photography, because it's hard to photograph yourself doing what you do, you know?
Yeah.
And so for about a year or two, that was my focus. So I would do like 10 or 11, maybe between 10 and 15 craft shows a year. And it was all between October and Christmas. So
Yep, that's the time.
pack them in. Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't really make anything that was summery. You know, everything I made was really winter, fall, cozy, holiday pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Christmas is like the best time. In the year is the best time. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why your video is frozen. I want to see your face talk, and sorry, it's not moving. I'm not sure what's going on. It's okay.
Well,
it's just like, no.
I'll be interested if anyone is here in the comments live. I say if anyone. I see we've got at least 20 people watching, but let us know if you can hear and see both of us, or if we're cutting out, because I think sometimes what we see is not what everyone else sees.
Yeah.
Because your video is a little pixelated for me, but it hasn't stopped me from seeing you or hearing you. So let us know in the chat if you can hear and see us okay. And also let us know if you have any questions for us. If you have any questions for me or for Priscilla, please make sure you put them in the question box. So if you look down at the bottom of your screen to the right side, there's a little speech bubble. Pastel Bug Crochet says we can hear and see you guys fine. Yay! Awesome.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so I want to jump in and talk about your patterns, because I found you doing a pattern roundup. So, you know, I mean, obviously I was attracted to your patterns, and I would love to know, because I know you kind of started writing patterns early, even if it was just notes, you know, so you were keeping your notes. But what got you into deciding, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to design these and sell them and kind of create a structure.
Okay. Can you rephrase that? Just to be just make sure what you're asking.
Yeah. Well, what made you decide to really turn pattern design into something you did regularly? So like instead of just having your notes, you know, you're really, because pattern design it's a long process. You know, you have to really wanna to do it, especially with like the pattern you just released. You know, you have to get it tested. You have to have different sizes. So like, what made you decide, like, I'm going to do this?
So a lot of people like asked my patterns a lot. So like, it was just like, and I was just like, you know, it'd be really cool to share them, because like everyone wants to make them, you know, why not? And so basically my first ever release pattern was, I think, actually that's not true. That's a lie. I had a free fingerless glove pattern years ago. But my first ever for sale pattern was my shorts pattern. And I used to make it for my customers all the time. People would order them, all the colors. So then I was like, hey, you have the pattern? I'm like, no, I don't have the pattern. You know, I mean, like I did it, but like for sale. And then, so I was just like, let me just put it out there. Let me just try. So I wrote it up, took all the pictures. It took me forever to do it because I procrastinate. And I was like, it's like a fear of failing, basically.
Yes.
So it's like taking that leap of faith and being like, you know, we're going to put it out there, see what happens. So I had no testers for that pattern. My first, I didn't really know about testers or like anything like that. So I was like, I'm just going to, you know, write it up as nice as I possibly can, check for spelling errors. This is exactly how I would do it. Let it go into the world. So I released it, didn't have like a giant, you know, party, like, oh, all these posts. I didn't really know about all the marketing for it yet. So I put it on my Etsy, and like, it was like selling. It's like, I think it's still my top seller, actually, my shorts pattern. So it was just buying it. And then, you know, along the way, people were like, hey, this part, you know, blah, blah. It was really like, I realized, so I just like kind of off topic, that I crochet like looser than like everyone in the world. Yeah. So when everyone was like, no, like it's weird. Like I crochet like loose, I guess. So everyone was like, yeah, I made like, you know, like one size bigger and it fit perfectly fine. And people were leaving like a 1 star review, like, oh, this gauge is so off and I'm a pattern tester. This is horrible. And I tried to help her and she was like, no, 1 star review. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like, it was scary. It was really scary because like some people are mean, you know, they won't like accept your help when you grow the pattern and they just want to give you 1 star. I don't know. But other than that, everything went fine. And I was like, you know, I can still do this. Then I was trying to juggle selling products and selling patterns. So I had to choose. I had a marketing mentor. I still have her. And she was like, yeah, you should, you know, make one your main thing and make one your, you know, it's like 80-20 rule, you know, 80% patterns, 20% selling products. So I started doing that and realized, you know, I just really enjoy making new stuff more than the same thing, depending on what it is, you know, constantly. So, you know, it's all about just jumping out there and just doing it. But, you know, I feel like it's awesome. You know, you make things that you love and then other crocheters can make it too, you know, if they love it too. I think it's like, it's all about, you know, sharing and just, you know, I don't know. Yeah. It's a whole big round thing.
It is. And you know, my story for my first pattern was very similar to yours because it was something I was making a lot of anyway.
Yeah.
And so I knew it by heart. And I kind of had to guess, you know, I did 4 sizes, but at that time I didn't know how to correctly size a pattern, you know, so I just kind of guessed and I said, well, this is how much bigger I think it's going to be based on the people that have bought them. So I don't think that I think I had a few testers, but it was like maybe 4 or 5, you know, versus now having anywhere from 20 to 50 people testing
I can't
them.
handle that many right now.
Yes, it's a lot. And you don't have to. I think that's some of the reason that I do it is because I don't want to say no to my returning testers. You know, because they get so excited. And so sometimes I have more than I need, but it's because they're a part of that community. And I'm like, well, you take the time out of your life to do this for free. So like, I'm just going to let you. If you want to do more, I'm not going to keep you from doing it just because I have too many people doing that size already, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I actually found, like, I went online and found like measurement charts. And I just like chose one and stuck with it and used that for different sizes for my shorts pattern. If that helps anyone, like just get like a measurement chart and base it off of that.
Yeah, so I actually use now Craft Yarn Council. So they have measurements for everything from like around the neck to, you know, the length of people's backs. Yeah, so check it out. Feet. I think they might have foot measurements because I had to do a slipper pattern and I think that's where I got them. But they have all of the standard hook sizes. So I use them as a huge reference now. You gonna write it down?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Where's my notebook?
Yes. They are a fantastic reference.
You said Craft Yarn Council?
Yes. And they're on Instagram too. I feel like I tag them sometimes, but
I'm gonna check them out.
Yes, and anyone looking at pattern design, if you're struggling with, you know, size charts, because there are so many out there. There are a lot of size charts out there. I had to do the same thing you did with my bralette pattern because they have like a chest size, but not like bra measurements. So I had to go find a couple of different ones and go from there. But I wanted to ask you with your shorts, because it was something new and it was your first released pattern and you were getting all this feedback, did you have to go in and did you actually like adjust or change the pattern as you got feedback?
Yes, I have adjusted it twice. I actually did it again recently. I finally added is it called gauge or gauge? I don't know how to say that right.
Gauge, yes.
Gauge. I recently, not recently, it was like a few months ago maybe, I updated that and updated the waist portion of it, and I just emailed it out to everyone who bought it. You know, I was like, hey, you know, just in case this happened, even though it was like a year ago they bought it, I'm like, just in case, you know, here's a whole new fresh one, just in case, you know, you had a problem. So yeah, I've made some changes, some updates.
I've always felt like for me, that's the best thing a designer can do. Like if you're looking to be a quote unquote good designer, I feel like it's being willing to take the feedback, take the criticism. Obviously, people can be mean, so you don't have to listen if they're just being mean. But
Yeah, I like literally cried when I got that 1-star review. I was so sad.
Well, and I think people expect a lot out of designers and
Yeah,
crochet designers. And I think that sometimes I understand, because on one hand, it's like, well, we're paying for the pattern, so we would want to make sure they're doing their due diligence. But there's also the side of we don't want to scare potentially really good designers who just have a lot to learn. So people who have really great ideas, they want to get them out there, they're really creative. For them to decide to never release a pattern because they're too concerned with it being perfect, you know, or up to, yeah. And I think the best thing you can do is what you did, which is you took the feedback because you said, you know, I want this to be a good pattern. So if this is something I need to update, I'm going to do that. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it's important, like you said, to accept corrective criticism and be like, okay, it's not perfect, obviously, let me fix it, you know, because what's worse that can happen, you know, people are just gonna be happier that you took their advice and just made it better. I totally agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about where, and I know you describe your aesthetic as boho hippie. Yes? Yeah.
Yep.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
Okay, that's a good question. I literally just like, I will see something and be like, I want to make that. And then like, I'll just make something like it and change it up a little bit. Or I think of something that I see that like I personally want to wear and I'll just like recreate it or just freehand something that I like to wear. And obviously colors, I love colors. I like to make everything colorful. But yeah, I just like comfortable, practical. Well, not everything's super practical, but like clothing you can just wear almost anywhere. I feel like, you know, like my romper pattern. I was just when I first made it, I was like, I want a crochet piece I can like wear with a bra. Because like if your boobs are a little bit big, you can't just be free rolling with like with everything sometimes. So like I just like things you can wear out and be comfortable and be confident in, but also like kind of like flowy, you know, like colorful, unique texture. Like I love adding texture, like textured, just kind of things like that. Things, you know, that's kind of like bohemian style. But yeah, I'll just look around me if that's something I like and just kind of make it work.
Yeah. And your romper, because it is super functional, like, and you just shared some pictures of some of your testers. And did you own something that was similar to that you were able to, or was it really just like, I have these, but this is what I would prefer it to be like?
I have a few rompers that, I mean, there's one I wear my tie-dye one all the time. I didn't base it off of that. It kind of looks similar to it though, actually. But I kind of just was like, this part's going to be like this and this part's going to be like that. Like I actually like frog, like my first one, I actually have it. This is the second one I made. The first one I made, I had to frog like the entire bottom because it just wasn't working. But the top part, I was just like, I'm just going to make it work and make it work. So I just kind of freehanded it, honestly. But I didn't base it off of a picture or anything because I kind of already knew in my head. I kind of visionized. My brain just went blank. I envisioned kind of like how I wanted it to look. I just kind of just did it.
I love that. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. That was, because it reminds me, I did a romper and some overalls and it was similar because it was like, you know, mixing up pieces and parts that I liked. And I'm the same way. I like to be able to have some kind of bra on. And so I wanted the straps to be thick. So like all of the items that I create, it has that in mind. And I think it's interesting as a designer, how our own just kind of style preferences of like a thicker strap, you know, and things that we look for in our own wardrobe, how that comes into the process.
Exactly.
Let's see. I wrote a bunch of questions down. I'm just working through them. So I want to make sure we touch on all of these different things. This was part of that question. So what is your creative process like? So, and what I mean by that is some designers will like draw something out and then write out notes, and then they'll make the item, or some people will make the item and just kind of freehand the item and take notes as they go. Like we all have this different process, and I'd love to hear kind of what that's like for you.
I am all over the place. I have drawn out some stuff that I've never made yet. It's just sitting there in the sketchbook. Like, I've just thought of it and did it. I would say, I'm all over the place because I've done all of those things and I just change it up depending on what it is, I guess. So I've done all of that. But like my bandana pattern, because I wear bandanas like regular ones all the time, I was just like, I want one to match around. So I just sat there and just did it. So it just depends on what it's going to be, I guess.
Yeah. Have you ever like sketched out one of your designs first, like on paper?
Yeah, let me see if. Let me think of one that I've actually just written down that I've sketched out. The shorts, no. The hat, no. The squid hat, no. I don't think. I'm literally thinking. I feel like all the ones I've sketched, I've never actually created a pattern for.
Gotcha.
They're just all sitting there. But I did have some ideas. I just never did them. But other ones, I've just looked at something and just figured it out. So they're just sitting there in the sketch.
Yeah, I don't feel like. I was trying to think. I feel like I've sketched a few things, but usually it's like on my phone because I've got one of those little stylus pens, and I'll pull up like the little notes app and I'll draw something out. But I don't know if I've ever saved them. And I just asked because I used to watch Project Runway a lot, and I loved watching these designers sketch the items, how like they all made these different looking women and like the clothing looked different the way that they drew. But I feel like my sketches aren't cute. Like, I wouldn't want them to be shown on TV.
I feel like they're all like rough sketches, you know? It's like, oh, real quick idea, just sketch it real quick. You know, I don't think it's supposed to be super cute, you know? Just how you draw it.
Well, and so one of the reasons I sketched out stuff in the past was to try to figure out colors. And you use a lot of bright colors. And I would love to know how you decide to put different colors together, because you really do have a lot of colors in some of your projects and they look great together.
A lot of it is so it's like all my shorts, line brand mandala yarn. It's already in the color scheme it's supposed to be in. But other than that, sometimes, because like I feel like there's like a whole thing called color theory and what colors go together and things like that. I just get some yarn and be like, this looks good together, and then I'll just like make something out of it. Or I'll go on Google and be like, what's some good color schemes, and see what other people have used before for like, you know, little color swatches like on Pinterest, things like that. But usually I have like a feel or like a vibe I'm trying to go for, and I'll kind of base off of that. Or I'll just be like, these look good together, I'm going to make it work. Or like contrast, because I love contrast too. So it just, I just look at it and say, that'll work.
When you use mandala yarn, and I feel like there's two different people that use self-striping yarn, the people who just go with it and the people who cut it to start a new row. So do you cut your yarn, or do you just go with it?
I'm like, whatever happens, happens. I just keep crocheting. Like, I honestly think, sorry, go ahead.
I have to know, anyone in the chat, if you are watching, let us know if you cut your yarn or if you go with it. Because I think that's a really good question, and I feel like that needs to be like an Instagram story question, and I need to see a percentage.
It should be, because some people like want that perfect, you know, stripe. But wait, actually, so when I do my shorts pattern, like at the bottom, I kind of want the colors to be even-ish. So at the bottom, I might cut it and then like other row and then go back and forth as the colors go along. That's the only time I do that. Other than that, I just let it go.
Yeah. I think with self-striping yarn, I believe the only time I cut it was I was making my newest Dobby cardigan with Karen Chunky Cakes. And I realized, because I do the back panel and then I do one front panel and the second front panel. And it was going to end up being like way too much of one color on the front. And so at that point, I like pulled a whole bunch of it out and went to the next color. But I've never done it to go like row by row.
Yeah.
And we do have a few comments, at least two. Got Ellen says she chooses to go with it, and so does My Crafty Hook. So far, the go with it's are the winners.
Yeah. It's just fun to see what happens.
It is. I
In
mean,
my
and
opinion.
I think it's, you don't have to think about it so much. I know it sounds like both of us are similar in, you want patterns that are fairly simple. You don't want to have to be completely focused all the time on stitch counts and things like that. You want it to kind of be a little more of a relaxing experience.
Yeah.
Here we go. Favorite part of the pattern process. So any part of the process that you could choose, what's one of your favorite parts of the process of creating a pattern?
This is a really good question because I'm currently working on enjoying the process. I'm really bad at enjoying because I'm always like, okay, I got to get to the point where it's done. So, okay, I found something. So one thing that I love doing creating patterns is discovering like new stitches or like new textures I can incorporate into what I'm making. Probably my favorite part of the whole thing is like finding new things I can add in to make it unique. It's like stitches and things like that.
Yeah. So it's very early on in the process. So it's really that like discovery of exactly what the pattern's going to be.
Yes. Before I hit that point of, oh my gosh, am I ever going to finish this? It's like, like that kind of excitement, I guess.
It is. It's a lot. I think I have, and for me, the worst feeling is when I have multiple items that I have finished creating. Like I've got my notes, I've got the item, and I just I haven't made the different sizes. I haven't written it all down in the right format. Like it feels a little overwhelming at that point, especially if there's more. Do you have some that are like that for you that are done and you just haven't?
Yes. Like I have things that I finished. They're just sitting there and I'm like, I want to make the pattern for that soon. Oh, time for a new pattern. Like, I definitely am trying to get, like, my first pattern of shorts has sizes, but I'm definitely trying to get to the point where everything is kind of just like based off your measurements. So I'll like just write it down as I go, like as I'm doing it. But I definitely have some stuff that's just like amazing. Like the picture you took of me for the cover photos, it's like my Fire Empress top, the pink and yellow, and that one. I made that forever ago, and I'm like, I want to make the pattern for that, and I have like it's written down in my book for me, but like I just haven't taken the time because the first part is a little complicated, so I'm like, I don't want to start that.
Yeah.
So,
well, and do you have a YouTube channel right now?
Yeah, I just officially started posting to it every single week this year. So yeah, I'm getting there. Right now I'm doing like tutorials and stuff, but I definitely want to eventually have like some free patterns on there once I figure out what I want to do first. It's just a whole indecisiveness. But yeah, I started it.
Well, and I feel like that would be a really great way. I know for me, because I try to make my patterns so beginner friendly, I feel like sometimes I'll stop myself from doing something that feels a little more difficult. And so instead I have gone to saying, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, because this is what I want in the pattern, I'm going to do a video tutorial. So like that way I can still say this is beginner friendly, because the part that's harder, you get more help on it.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, even myself as visual, when it comes to things, I personally like reading patterns more than watching videos. I don't know why. I feel like it's faster. I'm a little impatient sometimes, but I think that just in general, it's visual. It just helps so much more. And it's like more complicated. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I know I do lots and lots of pictures because I always appreciated that. I'm same way, very, very visual. I wanted to still read the pattern, but I needed help. There were a lot of times where I'd read it and be like, I don't really know what that means. Now I have to guess.
I definitely need pictures too for a lot of it, definitely.
Let's see. Okay, so I would love to know, because I have talked to a lot of people who have either downsized dramatically for their homes, or I've talked to people that are living the van life and talking about their storage. So you live in a small space And I would
Yes.
love for you to share a little bit of how you deal with not being able to maybe have as much yarn as you'd like, and like how you keep it organized.
Organized. That's a
Yeah.
fun word. Um, so
Lots of
when we move, no, I'm sorry. Go. What'd you say?
I said lots of meanings to that one.
Yeah.
Different meanings.
So I had to stop buying yarn before we moved into the camper because it's like I feel like people say crocheting and buying yarn are two different hobbies, and they are. So
Yeah.
I just loved buying yarn because there's so many pretty colors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I had my buckets and buckets of yarn. So when we moved into the camper, we downsized a lot. We moved a lot of stuff to my husband's parents' house. So we have a bunch of our stuff there that we're going to end up probably throwing it away or giving it away because we don't use it. Obviously, we're in the camper now. So my workspace, I would show you, but it is a mess. Actually, I don't really care. Anyway, so I own the dining room table and the two benches. And under the benches are storage spots.
Mm-hmm.
So one is for my henna, where I'm sitting on. Other one is just full of yarn and finished products. So I have to have some bags of yarn too because I'm just all over the place. So I have one bench and like one side of the thing for yarn and projects, and that's it for my crochet. Like,
wow.
So I only buy yarn if I actually need it.
Which is difficult. I mean, especially, I think that's where I struggle with putting colors together because I don't allow myself to keep more than I can store visually. So like if I have to put it in a Tupperware bin in the basement, I don't need to buy anymore.
Exactly.
But that means I don't have as many colors of, maybe the same type of yarn that I want to use for a project to compare. So then I'm having to compare them online, which is, because I know that in store they're not going to have all the bright colors that I need. So I feel like I have to order it online. But that brings me to my next question for you is what is your favorite yarn to work with? If you had to choose one yarn, what would be your favorite?
Honestly, if I had to choose, okay, do you mean like brand or color?
Type. So like brand type. That you could use different colors in it. So like if I chose Lion Brand Thick and Quick, I could use all the colors, but one type of yarn.
Okay. Oh man, that's hard because when I make my cords, it's always Lion Brand Mandala, but I use Red Heart Super Saver for like everything else. But I really like cotton yarn now because cotton is like really nice. Oh my goodness. That's a really good question.
But how about this? We'll up the stakes. You can only choose one style. You can have all the colors, but it's free for the rest of your life.
Free.
Oh, so
free.
You can have as much as you want, but you can only have the one. You can only have the one style.
That's so hard. That's really hard because I use like a little bit of everything. I honestly cannot live without my mandala yarn because I can always cut it and use the different colors, but it's not cotton. I mean, they do have cotton Lion Brand mandala yarn, so that's a lie. But I've never used their cotton. But man, but Red Heart has all of the colors. Red Heart Super Saver has all the colors.
Tough.
It's like a life and death situation.
Yeah.
I'd probably say, even though I don't want to, because I actually cannot choose, I'd probably say Super Saver because it just has every single color like you could probably want in your life. And it's most commonly used. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. I feel like some of it would have to be based on the color options that you have if you're going to choose yarn. And honestly, like I'm sitting here asking you that and I'm playing over in my head like I would not know the answer to that question either.
You have to choose now because I did.
Well, and that's why it was so hard because this year my goal was to use a whole bunch of different yarn. So it makes the choice even harder when like I've been trying out yarn that I probably wouldn't have bought unless I'd made it a goal, to try different yarn. And really, honestly, right now, just because it's kind of new, I think I might answer it. But the problem is it's discontinued. So I don't know if that counts. So then, like,
That's
how
so
would I know how
sad.
many colors I'd have? Yeah, so I don't know about that. Honestly, I feel like if I had to choose, and it's the same as you, like, because I wouldn't really want to, but if I wanted to continue to have lots of colors, I'd have to choose Lion Brand Thick and Quick because they
Mm-hmm.
have all the colors. They're the chunky yarn. It's
Yep.
dependable. You can wash it. Um, and it lasts a long time. Like, I have some really old um, scarves and things that still look not new, but better than if I had used, like their Hometown USA, the acrylic
Mm-hmm.
version. I feel like it ages fast,
Mm.
so I guess I'd have to say that because I feel like the second runner-up would be Bernat blanket yarn because they do tend to have a lot of cool colors and it's lighter weight. So even though I'm making these super chunky things, they don't feel as heavy. So that would
Oh
be the
no,
run.
cute. That's a good reason.
Yeah,
Those are all good
yeah,
reasons.
yeah. Good thing that none of us have to make this choice, right?
Right? No, it did. That would be crazy. I don't know if I could do that, honestly. I
So
probably couldn't.
if you're in the chat, let us know what your top yarn would be if you could only have one for the rest of your life, because that's a fun question. I feel like I need to do a post about that and ask
You
everybody.
should.
Um, okay, so where is your favorite place to buy yarn, and do you prefer to go in person or buy it online?
I'm definitely in person because I want to look at it because I feel like online the colors are like a little bit off because like your screen can be different, the quality.
Yep.
I feel like I always go to Joann's. Like always go to Joann's. I recently started going to Hobby Lobby a little bit, but I just like
Mhm.
Joann's. I'm just used to them, I guess. It's like a comfort
Yep.
thing.
Yep. And how far is your Joann store from you?
Not far. I'd say like 15, 20 minutes at the most.
That's not bad. Yeah, I
No.
don't think. And I could be wrong because I could have gone as a kid, but as an adult, I do not remember ever going to a Joann store,
Really?
really, which is crazy. I mean, because I've ordered from them online, but it's never the closest store. So, like, there's always been
Oh,
a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby closer. And so that's where I've gone.
that makes
But
sense.
it sounds mind blowing saying it out loud.
Yeah, I guess it does like depends on where you live, definitely. Because if it's not
Mhm.
close, it's like why? It's like why would you go? You know what I mean? There's no point to
Yeah.
go if it's not close enough.
Yeah, and I think there could have been a reason if I was still doing inventory, if I was still doing craft shows, like if I needed a certain color and it said it was local, so I didn't have to wait for shipping. But now that
Mm.
I can mostly order stuff online, there hasn't been a reason to travel further to go somewhere in store. So
No,
it's
that's true.
interesting. I came really close actually. I took a custom order a couple weeks ago, and um, I didn't know if I was going to be able to order the color that she wanted online because sometimes it just won't be available. Like you'll go look everywhere and can't find the color you're looking for. And it said that it was available for in-store pickup. And I almost did that, but then I realized I could still ship it. So like I was this close to going to pick it up.
Almost next time, right?
Uh-huh. Yes, and I need to go. I need because it's not that far from me now, and I need just to be able to say I've gone to a Joann store,
Right?
because I haven't.
There's so many cool things. Like I just love getting lost in craft, looking at all. There's just so many cool things there.
Hmm. And I have to practice a lot of self-control,
Yeah,
so that I.
that's definitely a learned thing.
Okay, let's do favorite or go-to hook size. So what's your kind of go-to size for your crochet hooks?
Um, it was 4.25
Hmm.
millimeter, and recently it's been 5 millimeter.
Okay, so not
Oh
super,
wait,
super small.
yeah, no wait, wait, no wait. Just kidding. I think I got it mixed up. I think it was 3.75. Yeah, it was
Okay.
3.75 millimeter, and now
Hmm.
it's recently been 5. So it was kind of small.
Yes. Yeah, so it was 375, and what is it now, you said?
It's most like 5 millimeter now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think my smallest pattern calls for a 5.5. And I'm the
Really?
opposite of you though. So I
Yeah.
crochet really, really, really tight. And I have a lot of people who have to what is that? The hip size down. Is that right?
Yeah.
I can never do the
I think it's right.
the math of bigger size, changing the hook size. I'm like, there's a calculator for that. I need to go put the numbers in. Okay. What do you do while you crochet? Do you like to crochet in quiet, or do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch Netflix? What do you like to do?
If I can, which is, it's not easy. I like to read sometimes. Yeah, like the book on something to hold it down.
Wow.
That's not often because it's too difficult. It's not often at all. But if I can, I will. I watch. Wait, I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said that's talent.
It's not easy. That's why I really do it. I do like watching sometimes some TV shows. I have a favorite YouTuber. I watch Charlotte Dubray sometimes. I listen to YouTube stuff, like business stuff, like marketing stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm. What else? And I think that, sometimes I'll just sit in the quiet. If I'm like really, really focused, I'll just, just crochet with some music on or just in the quiet. Yeah. So a little bit of everything, but usually I'll have something on to watch or like to listen to on YouTube.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I ask that question a lot now. Like now I've gotten to a point where I have specific questions I try to ask everyone because it's so interesting hearing different responses. But that question, I think everyone that I've asked it to has either preferred quiet or crochets in the quiet at least sometimes, which I was kind of surprised by because I feel like people always talk about like Netflix and crochet, that most of us are watching something, but I'm the same way. If depending on the mood I'm in, it'll just be silent.
Yeah, because if you're like focusing on like a pattern, I don't need any distractions. I don't want to hear anything I don't want anything. I just want to be like writing down, taking pictures, like I just need to focus. So depending on what it is, yeah.
So what do you have coming up? So you just released your romper pattern. What are some of your pieces in the works, or maybe the next pattern that you think is going to be coming out? What's that look like for you?
I made some pants for my mother-in-law, and everyone wants that pattern. So that one will probably be next. It's like, is it harem pants? HAREM. They're like, So they're very like big and like they're comfy. You can like dance around to yoga in them. So that'll be next, most likely. But there's also a top, my lemon drop top I made forever ago that I also wanted because like it's quick. So, but everyone wants the pants pattern. So probably be the pants pattern.
Yeah. And how do people get to test for you? So do you do a call for testers on Instagram? How does that work?
I do a call on Instagram and on Facebook, and then I have a pattern testing group that I put my my form link in, and they go in there and they sign up, and they send like their size, their Instagram. I'm sorry?
Is it a Facebook group? You said you have a pattern group. Is that Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook group.
Okay. Awesome. And I ask because I feel like that's one of the hardest things. Like I know there are a lot of testers out there who want to discover new designers, but it's kind of hard to, I found that it gets harder and harder to search Instagram for specifically what I'm looking for. I almost want to treat it like Google.
Yeah.
And so I love to ask on these videos for people who are designing in case they love your work, because a lot of pattern testers choose designers based on the aesthetic and the style and what they would like to wear.
Exactly.
And I love the bandana. Is that the one? Did you just release that recently?
Yeah, I released the bandana. Sorry, I have one right here. That one I released last week, and I released the romper this week. So
awesome.
I actually could not stop making them. It's kind of addicting because there's so many color combos you can do. But so that one was last week.
What are some of the stitches that are in that bandana pattern? Because it has a lot of texture. So what are some of the special stitches you use?
One of my favorites to use is a 3 double crochet cluster stitch. And I love working in the front loop and the back loop and the third loop. Or the camel. I found that it was called the camel stitch like a few weeks ago. I didn't know it was called that, the third loop at all.
I'm gonna have to write that down.
The third loop. Yeah. Oh, sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, no, I was going to ask you with the stitches because I keep it super, super basic. So I'm always interested to hear how people who use a lot of texture, do you, because like you just found out that was called camel stitch, so did you just do that and like how it looked and then you found out later? You know what I mean? Because some people, I feel like they search for new stitches, but do you just kind of create them as you go?
I think I found out about the third loop a while ago, but I thought it was called a third loop. But yeah, I think I actually discovered it and I started using it. And I forgot where I even found it at. But I was just like, I need texture. How do I find this texture? I think someone had asked me for something and to make, and I had no idea what stitch it was. So it's like, find out what it was. So yeah, I think that's how I found it.
Do you seek out new stitches often? Like, do you Google new stitches and learn them on your own?
I do, but the probability of me using them is kind of low because I just like using what I know sometimes, but I do look for new ones and see if it's like easy enough to put in a pattern. You know what I mean? Because some things are like really pretty, but like decreasing with them, increasing with them, or like doing other things can be like annoying a little bit. So it depends on what it is. I'm so sorry. David, are you leaving? Sorry, my husband's leaving. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. And I just wanted to thank everyone again for joining in today. And if you've joined in late, you can always rewatch it on my Instagram channel as well, because it'll be posted on here. So I know some people come in late. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. So I would love for you to share too the different ways people can connect with and support you. So what are some of the different channels you have and where is your shop? All of that information.
So obviously follow my Instagram, you can follow my Facebook page. I recently started a TikTok. I post to it when I can. Also, I'm really trying to get my YouTube thing going. So subscribe to that. That'd be really awesome. I do want to post some free patterns, hopefully before the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, just like, comment.
Oh, I think she paused, or I paused. Let's see if it comes back. Technology's fun today. It may have been me. Let me see. Nope. Let me know in the video, can you still see me? Are we both paused? Oh, I've got some hearts. Give it a minute. Oh, and we lost her. Okay, well, thank you, Priscilla, so much for coming on. I'm sorry we had the tech issues, but I'm pretty sure everyone could see you during the actual live. Like, I'm pretty sure everything was good. Yes, I know she's gone now. I'm sorry, guys. But we were getting towards the end, so I'm just so thankful that you guys came on and joined us today. I hope you enjoyed our chat. I am here every Friday bringing new people on so that you can grow your community and meet new people. And like I said, if you missed out the first part of this chat, it will not only be visible here on Instagram, it will post to my feed soon, or you can watch it on YouTube. And I see you, Priscilla. I'm so sorry, but I appreciate you coming on. And you said your phone is hot. Yes. So it sounds like it was not enjoying things today. But we will head out for the day. And thank you all for coming. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Friday and a fantastic rest of your weekend. It is the darn heat. I know it's super hot everywhere. But I will also include a link in the description on YouTube of all the different places where you can support Priscilla. But be sure to go to the Stitch Queen here on Instagram, give her a follow, and check out her new pattern because that romper is amazing. All right, until next time, happy